So, for months, the entire fight world has been buzzing about something absolutely wild. Forget the octagon, forget Vegas for a second. We're talking about a UFC card live from the South Lawn of the White House. This is way more than just a big fight night, right? This is a huge statement, a massive moment for the sport. And of course, how did UFC CEO Dana White describe it? Well, in classic Dana fashion, he cranked the hype up to 11. He didn't just say it was a big deal. Nope, he promised us, and I'm quoting here, the greatest fight card ever assembled. I mean, that's a pretty huge claim for a pretty historic setting. But is it really? Because when that final lineup was actually revealed, the reaction from, the experts and a lot of the fans, it wasn't exactly what you'd expect. So what's actually going on with this card? All right, so let's do a little reality check here. What are the experts really saying about this? Because once you get past the incredible venue and all that hype, the picture, well, it gets a lot more complicated. And here's the thing. When you look at it on paper, this card just doesn't seem to stack up against the all-time greats. I mean, think about it. Those legendary cards often have 2, sometimes even 3 championship fights. This one, it has just 1 undisputed title fight and 1 interim. The matchups are solid for sure, but they're kind of missing that blockbuster feel, The huge stars or those deep, bitter rivalries that make a card truly unforgettable. Jeff Wagenheim over at ESPN, he put it really bluntly. He said the card, quote, simply doesn't measure up to the lofty expectations White created, and that gap between what was promised and what we got is really at the heart of this whole discussion. And his colleague, Andreas Hale, was even more direct. He called the whole reveal underwhelming and said that, get this card doesn't even crack the top 10 UFC events of the 2020s. Wow. I mean, that's a pretty sharp takedown right there. Now, what's really interesting here is what this card might be telling us about the bigger picture at the UFC. It could be pointing to a deeper issue the whole promotion is facing. Maybe, just maybe, a bit of a star problem. Wagenheim summed it up with this fantastic metaphor. He said the cupboard is not bare, but it sure could use some brighter light bulbs shining inside there. In other words, the UFC is packed with amazing talent, but it might be lacking those true mainstream superstars, the ones who light up the whole room. And the evidence for that, it's pretty clear when you look at it. The UFC's biggest star, Conor McGregor, hasn't fought in years. Its biggest female star, Ronda Rousey, is off competing somewhere else. And maybe the most telling thing of all, the guy many call the GOAT, heavyweight champ Jon Jones, isn't headlining. So what's the result? You get a card filled with phenomenal athletes that the average sports fan, well, they just might not recognize. But, and this is a big but, here's the counter argument. Maybe the UFC doesn't need those super bright light bulbs anymore. The promotion has totally proven it can succeed without being propped up by a handful of megastars. I mean, its business valuation has never, ever been higher. The UFC brand itself, that's become the star.
Okay, so we've gone through the criticism, but that does not mean this card isn't worth watching. Not at all. Because hidden in this lineup, there are some fights that could genuinely deliver all-time historic, classic moments.
Now, despite all the back and forth, I want you to just focus on one thing for a second. A single number. 3. Why is the number 3 so important on this night? Because Alex Pereira is trying to do something no one has ever done in UFC history. Win a title in a 3rd different weight class. He's already conquered middleweight, conquered light heavyweight, and a win against Ciryl Gane for that interim heavyweight belt would be completely unprecedented. That right there is history in the making. So, while Pereira is chasing history, there's another question that experts are all asking. With all this talent on the card, which fight is going to be the one that just blows the roof off the place and completely steals the show? Well, according to ESPN's Brett Okamoto, it's a no-brainer. He is pointing directly at one fight, Mauricio Ruffi versus Michael Chandler. And why is that? Because Michael Chandler is pure, uncut action. He's described as all gas, no brakes. He's a guy who just walks forward and creates absolute chaos, even when it's not good for him. You pair that relentless style with a technical master like Ruffi, and you get what Okamoto calls a firefight as long as it lasts. Seriously, do not blink during this one. So, we've got historic stakes, and we've got guaranteed action. But even with those bright spots, the experts couldn't help but point out some clear missed opportunities, things that could have taken this card from just good to truly, truly legendary. 3 things really stood out. First, There isn't a single women's fight on the card, let alone a championship one. That feels like a major oversight. Second, the card doesn't really have any drama or bad blood to sell to a wider audience. And finally, some really charismatic fighters like Paddy Pimblett, guys known for creating buzz, were just left off entirely.
And this all brings us right back to the central question this whole White House card makes us ask. In this new era where the brand is king and the business has never been stronger, does the UFC even need those individual megastars to be a mega success? This event, well, it might just give us the answer.